Now that we're a few days removed from the historic meeting between Zohran Mamdani and Donald Trump in the Oval Office on Friday, Mamdani is continuing to catch criticism for allegedly being too conciliatory toward a man that he himself has called a fascist. It's worth looking back at what actually happened there, because I think people are mistaking style for substance here. It's true that he didn't literally choke the man out on the desk, but he did actually stand by calling him a fascist and a despot. And there were two other moments that genuinely have had no precedent in this White House or the last one. First, he stood up and denounced Israel's genocide and America's support for it. But importantly, he also framed it in a way intended to reach the most number of people.
I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
I agree that President Trump did do a peace and worked hard to make the peace, because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Notice how he doesn't give an inch on our complicity in genocide, but immediately reframes it as additionally something that New Yorkers don't want funded with their tax dollars, an argument that particularly resonates with Trump's base. And when it comes to immigration, Mamdani also did something unprecedented, which was to stand up for New York City's sanctuary status and tell Trump that he would not be able to cooperate with mass deportation. But notice that he did concede to Trump that when it comes to very violent criminals, the sanctuary law actually does allow for some cooperation.
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
What we did is we discussed crime. More than ICE per se, we discussed crime. And he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out, maybe more than I do.
According to a source who was in the room while Mamdani and Trump met privately, the public description both men gave to it genuinely did reflect how it went before the press was brought in. And the sanctuary law does indeed allow for cooperation between the local authorities and ICE when it comes to people here illegally who have been convicted of about 170 serious violent criminal offenses. Now, before this meeting, Trump was threatening to bankrupt and occupy New York City. After the meeting, he was asked if he still planned to send in the National Guard, and he backed off that threat.
Do you still plan to deploy the National Guard to New York City?
If they need it. Right now, other places need it more, but if they need it, we had a very good meeting yesterday. We talked about that. But if they need it, I would do it.
And again, for those who thought he was too chummy with Trump, how do you explain him standing by his claim that Trump is a fascist not once, but twice?
Just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many.
I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Thank you for watching. I'm Ryan Grimm, a reporter for DropSite News, an independent, nonprofit news outlet. If you're not signed up to get our free newsletter, you can find that at dropsitenews.com. We host a live stream every Tuesday morning at 9:30 Eastern. Tune in if you can. Our revenue model relies on readers, and we're currently facing a lawsuit over an article we published last year called The BBC's Civil War Over Gaza. A BBC editor is suing the author of that story, and we're covering the legal expenses. If you can chip in to help, go to legalfund.dropsitenews.com. Contributions are tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law. And if you want to make a larger gift, you can email majorgiving@dropsitenews.com or find the Ways to Give section on our website. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.